I'm in the Badlands of South Dakota with the president of AGRM, the Association of Gospel Rescue Missions, John Ashmen, longtime friend of mine, and there's this bridge between Christian hospitality, camps and conference centers that we have both been involved in, to something far more radical. Matter of fact, John calls it radical hospitality. John, tell us, what is this idea of radical hospitality?
Well, let me start by saying, after I worked for Christian Camping for 15 years and moved to the Association of Gospel Rescue Missions, I had people ask me, how can you make such a move? Going from camps and conferences, I mean, think about those kinds of places, to rescue missions, think about those kinds of places. It's a difference between night and day. And I said, think about it. A camp, conference center versus a rescue mission. They both sleep people. You have beds. They both feed people. You have tables. They both have chapel programs. They both have education and training. When you're running either, you're doing HR, PR, buildings and grounds, maintenance, government relations, public relations. The line I used for Jeff Lilly, who left a camp in California and is now on a mission in Washington State, said the only difference between a camp and a rescue mission is you go to a camp because it's a fun resort, and you go to a rescue mission because it's a last resort. They're both about the ministry of hospitality. A lot of people get confused about hospitality. Hospitality seems to come into play when people say something like, as soon as I learn that new lamb chop recipe and get the carpets shampooed, I'm going to invite that couple down the street who are new in town over for dinner. And my response is, that's not hospitality necessarily, that's entertaining. Entertaining is inviting people into your home. Hospitality is inviting people into your life. Radical hospitality is inviting people into your life who you probably would not normally want to invite, but feel called of God to open your life to someone who has no life. They are destitute, desperate, on the street, and radical hospitality is changing people, because when they go to a number of different shelters and get turned down, they try to move in with a friend or a relative and it doesn't work out. They go to a rescue mission and the people say, there you are, we've been waiting for you, come on in, what can we do for you? Come to the clothing room, let's get you some new clothes. My favorite story about radical hospitality is I was at a mission in Tennessee, Chattanooga. Not a conventional mission. I walked in to ask for the director, and he went by the name Brother Ron. And the room was full of people. It's probably a room 40 by 80. And people were milling around and sitting and reading, and kids were playing. And they were off the street. It was warm. I went in and said, I'm looking for Brother Ron. And the guy behind the desk said, I don't know where he is right now. And a couple seconds later, he looked up. There he is. He points to this chubby guy coming from a room in the back with two little boys, and he had toys. And I said, they're both little toy trucks. I said, Brother Ron, I'm John. And he says, hi. He said, I was just doing some auto trading. And I don't know, he just went through these little kids, and they thanked him and ran off to where their parents were. I said, tell me what you do here. He says, what do I do here? He says, well, I'm just the foot guy. Now, I knew he was kind of the leader of this mission, but I said, what do you mean, the foot guy? He says, come here, let me show you. So he took me to the back of this large room, opened a door, and we were in a room that was probably 15 by 15. In the middle of the floor, two very large chairs. They almost looked like barber chairs. One wall has medicines and cloths and towels and soaps and instruments, not musical, medical instruments. The other wall has shoes and socks. He said, when people come to our mission for the very first time, he says, I bring them in here and treat their feet. I wash their feet to start, and then I find out their sores, their blisters, and I treat those with the medicine up here. I cut their toenails, if that's a problem. After we get their feet clean and get their medical needs that related to the feet taken care of, then I fit them with new socks and shoes that actually fit. He said, see, people who are homeless spend a lot of time on their feet, walking from this place to that place, standing in line, waiting for this service or that service. And he said, most of the illnesses that people have that have been on the streets for years are born in their feet. And when you can take care of someone's feet, then you can start to take care of their other physical needs. And when they trust you, then you can start to take care of their spiritual needs. Being a foot guy is radical hospitality. Very few people can understand the heart of Christ like someone who's been on their knees with a wash basin in front of someone who hasn't had their feet washed in weeks, maybe months. That particular town, by the way, you can cut it off there if you want.